Hi, it's Jim and it's Call to Battle. Now, the study that came out, the study came out very interesting. Now, I have a background in mental health. I actually worked in the mental health field before I was called to be a pastor. And so I find these studies, especially psychological studies, things like that, very interesting. And usually these studies, though, will ruffle someone the wrong way. But this one was done on, they looked at children and their mental health, those raised by conservative parents and those raised by liberal parents. And the study found that children raised by conservative parents have better mental health than those raised by parents who are liberal. And so I have a few clips here. The person who actually put these clips together is a guy named Ruslan, and he put these together. He does this as a full-time job. I have no staff. It's just me, and so I sort of took this from what he put together and found this interesting, and hope you will too. So let's go to the first cut.
How's your mental health these days? Well, that might depend on how conservative your parents are. A new report from our next guest, Jonathan Rothwell, indicates that on a number of vectors, conservative parents perform better with their children than their liberal counterparts, leading to better mental health results for their kids. Rothwell writes, parental political ideology is a strong predictor of parenting style. Liberal parents had the lowest scores, meaning they were the least likely to endorse items indicating warm, disciplined parenting. Just 40% of liberal parents scored above average on the index, whereas 71% of very conservative parents and 56% of conservative parents did.
No, that's interesting. When it's talking about, warm disciplining, scored lowest when they're likely to endorse items indicating warm, disciplined parenting. Now, every parent wants a child with good mental health. No parent is parenting a child thinking, "Oh, I'm going to help them have poor mental health," or no healthy person's going to do that. But it's interesting with the conservative parent, they give much more structure. There's a part of demanding and warmth, and this is actually a good thing. I mean, I remember seeing a study years ago by a gentleman named Hendrickson who was really into education. And he was talking about school-age kids. He said, if you expect greatness from a child, you get greatness. And when you expect mediocrity, you get mediocrity. He said, and when the school system lowers the bar, kids do worse. And it's the same with parenting. Do we expect nothing from our children? I mean, I've heard parents say, I'm going to be my child's friend. Your child doesn't need another friend. They need a parent. Someone's going to guide them, teach them between right and wrong. Put discipline in when it's necessary. And some reason, discipline has become this dirty word. Oh, discipline, I'll hurt my child's self-esteem. No, that's how a child learns the boundary lines between right and wrong is when we do this. But, some reason parents have thought that, that's a cruel thing to do. But the studies are showing a parent who actually has structure in the household, discipline in the household, warmth in the household, very important, that the child's mental health is better. And that is necessary for a child to do well mental health-wise. Now, I'm going to go to the next clip here, and as I have to move it on up and get the old reading glasses on, we'll look at the next section.
Rothwell's research led him to conclude that adolescents with very conservative parents are 16 to 17 percentage points more likely to be in good or excellent mental health compared to their peers with very liberal parents. Only 55% of adolescents of liberal parents reported good or excellent mental health compared to 77% of those with conservative or very conservative parents.
No, again, fascinating. I'll leave that up. As we look at very conservative parents are 16 to 17 percentage points more likely to be in a good or excellent mental health compared to their peers with very liberal parents. 55% of adolescents of liberal parents reported good or excellent mental health compared to 77% of conservative or very conservative parents. I mean, they even have part of it, they said that kids with conservative parents, that those kids have 8% of them have report a better relationship with their mom and dad. And kids with very conservative parents, they're 14% higher to have a very good relationship with mom and dad with this. And it's amazing how the mental health issue plays here when a child is raised this way. But we like the society likes to demean the conservative, that somehow no, the terms are used conservative, always negative. But we're finding out that this is having great mental health for our children, not the liberal way, but the conservative way. And I'm a conservative. I am not talking political. Let's not go there. So with the conservatives, the more structured there is, the loving parent, the warmth is there, and it's helping our children. Now, the next one is, give me a second to get it up here. It's let's see, and this one I think was the most striking to me. This comment was really the one that really struck me. Now, this is the man that did the study, and they were interviewing him. You can actually go see it and see the whole interview with him. But this is a question. It's about social economic issues he sort of touches on, but most importantly, he's talking about the relationship between mom and dad. So let's see what he does.
These things don't make a difference.
There does seem to be a robust finding there that parents are not necessarily better or worse in terms of their warmth and demandingness if they have higher or lower levels of education or household income. To me, it's a very encouraging finding that it's just you can't buy high quality parenting and high quality child-parent relationships. Mm-hmm. It really comes from complex combinations of sort of the culture, how you were raised as a child, mm-hmm. how you understand what it means to be a good parent, and mm-hmm. even if someone had necessarily a difficult childhood, they're not destined to be to have difficulty as a parent. We do see that there was some relationship there, but it was not very strong. And what was much stronger in terms of predicting whether you have a good relationship with your children was how well you get along with your spouse.
Well, that was interesting. Interesting too is like social economic was irrelevant. When he speaks more on this in an interview, that it didn't matter if the kid grew up in a rich household or in a poor household. That had no bearing on their mental health. It was how the parents parent. Because as he said, you cannot buy good mental health. You cannot buy good parenting. And so that didn't matter. But what made a huge difference was the relationship that the husband and wife had. And that is so key. That is what that gives a child good mental health. He also, earlier in the interview, they were asking about things that affect the child, and he said, no, when a parent's basically divorced, when a parent leaves, a parent dies, it has incredible damage on the child's mental health. Parents like to say, well, we're getting a divorce, so it'll be good for our kids, but studies don't back that up. Now, given we're not talking about abuse. Abuse is a whole nother category. A term I like to hear with relationship is like, oh, my husband was toxic, my wife was toxic. Well, my question usually is, what define toxic? What do you mean toxic? And very rarely in these conversations do I ever hear them say abuse. It's like being hit, stuff like that. It's always like, well, he likes to do it this way, I like to do it that way. Or, disagreements. It's never really... I'm sorry, it's not a huge issue that should cause divorce. But what's tough with a relationship, because people don't understand this word love, that love is a choice. It's not an emotion. We try to make it emotion. It has nothing to do with emotion. It has to do with choice. And I can give you the biblical support for that, how the Bible shows that. You choose to love or not to love. Like people say, I fell out of love. No, you didn't. You chose to stop loving. Or someone say, well, I love him, but I just can't live with him. No, you can live with them. You're choosing not to. You're choosing not to work on the relationship. You're choosing not to make sacrifices. No, husbands and wives, that's what they do. And you're choosing to hurt the child. Children do better in this area when the parents stay together and work on it. And they're saying, usually it's in the realm of when the parents are conservative or very conservative in their raising. And a lot of the conservatives, if you want to look at what defines that for people, it's the raising their children under biblical standards. And God lays it out. I mean, I don't know why people don't want to accept this. I don't want people want to grab onto this, because when we do what the Bible says, it works out great. Of course, people want to bring up things in the Bible they don't understand. Well, the Bible says we should, put people as slaves and stuff like that. You just don't understand. It's like, you haven't studied the Bible, don't go there. But you look at how the Bible says how a husband and wife are supposed to be with each other. You have a strong marriage. When you follow that what God tells us for a husband and wife goes well. When it shows you how to be a father and a mother, and you follow the biblical standards, which we would call conservative today, or very conservative, the child does better. Their mental health is better. And this study shows this. And people will try to make excuses not to follow the study, and you can. But this study, I mean, the people interviewing kept trying to go to things like, well, maybe because most of the people, conservative people, are probably in the rural areas, so it's easier, and the guy's like, no, it doesn't hold up. No, rural or in urban. Of course, it's silly to think, if you're in an urban area, somehow you'll be a worse parent, or your child will have worse mental health, then why would you stay there? But that doesn't hold. It's just fascinating, the study of what is best for a child. And basically, you go down this conservative area, this very conservative area, the children do better in mental health. So I guess what we should be looking at is, what does that mean? How is that done? If we want good mental health for our children. So I just found it fascinating. Well, that's all I got for you today. Hope you're having a great week. I will talk to you soon. God bless.